18 facts about sleep that may surprise you. Getting a good night's sleep is extremely important for a person's well-being. It is recommended that we sleep for anywhere between 7 to 9 hours a day to recharge our body and our mind. Sleep plays a crucial part in our lives, and it's fascinating how much we don't know about this activity. However, our sleep can be greatly affected by many different factors. Associated stress, lack of sleep, late working hours, shift changes, and even long-distance journeys can all affect how we sleep. Today, we're not dwelling upon the problems of sleep deprivation. We're going to take a look at some facts about sleep that will shock you. Keep watching. You will like the video. So don't forget to click like and subscribe to the channel. Number 18. We spend 1/3 of our life sleeping. Studies have shown that we spend almost 1/3 of our lives on Earth sleeping. Although this claim may be hard to believe, it is easy to see. If you sleep around 8 hours every day, you're already spending 1/3 of the day sleeping. However, this largely depends on individuals' hours of sleep. That is, the total proportion might differ according to the number of hours each person sleeps. As we get older, we tend to sleep a lot more, but sleeping difficulties can accompany advancing age, thereby changing the total quantity of sleep we have in our lifetime. Generally, however, most of us sleep for at least 1/3 of our entire life. Number 17. Sleep is essential for memories. You may not believe it, but your ability to remember things largely depends on the quality of the sleep you get. Simply put, if we do not sleep, we'll have difficulty remembering things. Sleep is extremely important in the memory consolidation process, and a good night's sleep will only help us create stronger memories. Clinical studies have found that those people who sleep within 2 to 3 hours of learning something new tend to remember it longer compared to those who sleep around 8 to 9 hours after they've learned it. So, if you're a student or a young individual who is learning a new skill or gaining some new knowledge, you might want to get the recommended amount of sleep. Number 16. Most people do not want to get out of bed. Do you feel excited about waking up in the morning? Probably not. It's only for people who go to sleep in the night and wish to wake up on time. Sometimes we may even have a great deal of difficulty getting out of bed. The state of finding it difficult to get out of bed is called dysania. For most individuals, this condition might be mild, but some people find it extremely difficult to wake up in the mornings due to associated fatigue. Chronic fatigue syndrome has a close link to dysania, and it usually requires some form of treatment to make sure that the sleep cycle is not prolonged. Number 15. Jerking moments in the sleep is common. Has your body ever suddenly jerked while you were asleep, like you're going to fall? This often takes place when you're not completely asleep, but are just about to drift off into a deep sleep. This type of body jerk is called hypnic jerks. They are also called myoclonic jerks or hypnagogic jerks. They are entirely normal but may be worsened in those individuals who suffer from anxiety or those who perform vigorous physical activity closer to that bedtime. Studies also show that caffeine is also a triggering factor. Number 14. Sleepwalking exists. You must have heard about or seen people who sleepwalk. Around 15% of people in the world are active sleepwalkers. Even when a person's body is in a state of sleep, the mind can control movements and help them walk around in a familiar territory. It is not abnormal, and it is absolutely fine to wake up someone who is sleepwalking to help them back to bed. Number 13. Man is the only mammal that can delay sleep. Every other mammal on the planet has a set sleep pattern. According to the National Sleep Foundation, man is the only mammal that is willing to be able to delay his or her sleep. Altered sleep patterns due to shift works or for any other reason can ultimately affect normal sleep patterns and duration. When a person does not sleep at the right time, the person's pattern of sleep changes, and this sometimes leads to sleep disorders. Number 12. We forget our dreams quickly. Do you dream? How often do you remember your dreams when you wake up? It's not uncommon for people to forget at least 50% of their dreams within 5 minutes of waking up. They may continue to remember fragments of it, but an additional 5 minutes leads to around 90% loss of recollection. Around 12% of the population experience dreams in black and white, while the rest experience theirs in color. A theory behind why we forget our dreams, as put forward by Sigmund Freud, is that dreams sometimes indicate thoughts that we repress in our minds. He explains that since we do not wish to remember them, the brain gets rid of them quickly. A fascinating theory, that one. Some others believe that preoccupation with morning routines makes it difficult to remember dreams. Number 11, we experience less pain in our sleep. Another interesting fact about sleep is that we experience less pain in our sleep. What happens when we sleep? Our muscles and tendons, along with the joints, go into a state of complete relaxation. The brain has partially shut down and is resetting itself during our sleep, and the brain has to be very active to experience symptoms of pain. Studies have found that when sleeping, the tolerance to pain reduces dramatically. There is no clear reason why this happens. Have you ever wondered why you have no idea how you ended up with a bite on your tongue in the night from an insect? Well, this is the reason. Number 10, sleep position may indicate personality. Did you know that the position in which we sleep is reflective to our personalities? In an article published in The Telegraph, scientist Chris Idzikowski reported that there are 6 different positions that we all sleep in. The most common position is the fetal position, which is taken up by the growing fetus in the uterus. It is seen in 51% of women and less so in men. The other positions include the starfish position, which indicates that those individuals are good listeners who can make friends easily but do not like being the center of attention. 6.5% of people sleep in the free fall position, and these individuals appear confident but have a nervous disposition when criticized. Number 9, snoring may lead to heart disease. Did you know that snoring is a condition that needs to be checked? An interesting fact about sleep is that snoring, a sleep disorder, affects heart health. According to certain studies, snoring appears to be the primary cause of sleep problems in around 19 million American adults. People who are overweight are susceptible to a condition called obstructive sleep apnea, where an individual stops breathing momentarily during their sleep. This is accompanied by increased daytime sleepiness, which in turn can affect vital structures like the heart. It can also raise blood pressure. Obstructive sleep apnea requires treatment with a device called a CPAP machine. Number 8. Sleep is as important as diet and exercise. Sleep is just as important when it comes to staying healthy as eating right and exercising the body. This is because the lack of a sufficient amount of sleep has been linked closely to the development of diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and depression. Also, sleep deprivation will most likely lead to reduced efficiency at work. The lack of adequate sleep can also lead to an alteration in certain hormones in the body. These hormones are responsible for controlling appetite, and they tend to become overly active when a person does not sleep sufficiently long enough. When this happens, the person begins to eat excessively, which in turn leads to weight gain. Furthermore, the lack of sleep decreases the satiety hormone called ghrelin and increases the levels of the hunger hormone leptin. This is why people who get poor sleep result in snacking late in the night on high-calorie foods, which adds to the body weight. Number 7, babies sleep the longest. This may be your first time hearing that babies sleep the longest. Basically, they require about 14 to 18 hours a day of sleep. No wonder they grow up so fast. The period when babies should be awake per day is quite short because a sufficient amount of sleep is essential for their normal development. In fact, babies who do not sleep well may find it more difficult to sleep and can become sleep deprived. Number 6, we move our eyes in our sleep. You probably don't know that your eyes move when you sleep, did you? Our regular sleep has 2 cycles in it: rapid eye movement sleep and non-rapid eye movement sleep, also called REM sleep and NREM sleep, respectively. In REM, eye movements are fairly common, and the sort of sleep is usually a deep sleep. It is difficult to make an individual wake up during REM sleep. We dream in our REM sleep and snore in our NREM sleep. Number 5, how quickly you sleep matters. Have you ever wondered why you fall asleep too quickly or too slowly? For some people, all they need to do is get their backs on the mattress and that's it. Some others might keep rolling from one end of the bed to the other before they eventually fall asleep in a very awkward position. Normally, an individual falls asleep within 10 to 15 minutes of attempting to do so. If it takes less than 5 minutes to fall asleep at night, it is sometimes indicative of being sleep deprived. If it takes longer than 20 to 30 minutes, then it could indicate insomnia, and it should be checked out immediately. Changing one's lifestyle, following a healthy diet, and performing regular exercise can all help reduce sleep deprivation and improve the quality of sleep. Number 4, altitude disrupts sleep. Have you ever been on a mountain and tried to sleep? Although you might eventually get to it, sleeping at that height might prove difficult, and there's a perfect explanation for this. As a result of lower amounts of oxygen at altitudes of 13,200 feet or higher, it's almost impossible to sleep and sleep comfortably. So the next time you're visiting the Rocky Mountains and you find it difficult to sleep, you know the reason. Number 3, you can't sneeze while sleeping. If you consider the positions we take when we're asleep, we are prone to sneeze. But since we aren't moving to stir up dust particles, the reaction doesn't occur. Some external factors might make sneezing while asleep possible, though. Number 2, the strangers in your dreams aren't strangers. Do you ever dream and see unfamiliar faces? We all do. You might not know them personally, but we've seen them sometimes in the past. Crazy, right? The brain does not possess the ability to create people, so it uses registered faces. Number 1, you grow 0.3 inches while sleeping. Now, we saved probably the most shocking fact for the last fact. Did you know that you have about 0.3 inches of growth while you are asleep? However, the growth is temporary because you shrink back down to normal after you're awake for a few hours. When you sit or stand, your cartilage discs are squeezed by gravity like sponges. You can imagine how impressed you are with this new knowledge, right? Which of these facts surprised you the most? What are you willing to change about your sleep based on these facts? Let us know in the comments section below. Hurry now and subscribe to our channel if you're new. You should also hit that notification bell so that you never miss any of our amazing facts about things you use daily. Until next time, bye-bye.